All right, welcome to week 9, otherwise known as the week before spring break. This week we are looking at the kind of comparative perspective on judicial systems. Among the things we're going to talk about this week is the role that judicial review plays. Not every country has judicial review, but yet there are democratic countries without it, so it's not necessarily an essential feature. It's generally a feature of those governments where people try to emulate the kinds of checks and balances that are built into our constitutional system. I'm going to talk about judges and the role that judges play, how judges are selected, what are their qualifications. We're going to talk a little bit about how the American judicial system compares with other nations. Let's see, we are going to identify and describe reasons why the Supreme Court chooses to hear some cases and not others. Why don't they have to hear every case that comes in front of them? Certainly since the early 20th century, they basically have control over their docket now. We're going to describe the decision-making process of the Supreme Court. What is the importance of the rationale, the reasoning of decisions, the role that justices play. It's interesting that right now, with the two selections that Trump has made, that it appears that Chief Justice John Roberts is attempting to play a balancing role on the court. How serious is Roberts going to take that role? I guess we're going to find out. We need to understand the difference between a federal and a state court, because obviously we have federal laws that have overarching significance and usually deal with something of an interstate nature, whereas the state courts basically deal with just, for example, Oklahoma. And then we're going to discuss why the courts consistently receive relatively high approval ratings compared to the other political institutions. And I think at least the first blush answer to that is that the courts are generally viewed as guardians of the Constitution. And I think most Americans continue to hold the Constitution itself in very high regard and continue to think that it's an important basis for rule of law. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we only have the 2 assignments this week, the forum and the quiz. I didn't want to load you guys down knowing that you guys are getting ready for spring break. So hopefully we'll have a good week of discussion.